Hi guys, today we're going to do a downloader app where you input a link from the internet and it will download the file using that link. So let's begin, I suppose. So just create a class. Actually, I'm going to create a package first. I'll name it DL, which stands for downloader. Downloader app. In the main method, we launch our JavaFX application and we start our primary stage. I've already done a tutorial on MVC pattern, so I'm just going to define UI within the code because it's just faster. And in this tutorial, we're just focusing on things which are not based on MVC. So there is kind of no point in doing the MVC again. Return. The app will probably consist of a text field and possibly a progress bar. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to just create a vertical box. Set preferred size, I don't know, 400, 600 or something. So this is going to be the root node. We will need a text field. Which is where the user inputs the link to the file. So we're going to call it field URL. Import from JavaFX. What else? We need ProgressBar, I suppose. So the user knows how the download is going. Again, JavaFX ProgressBar. And yeah, that'll do. Just add the whole thing to the list of nodes of the root node. Field and the progress bar. And we need something to trigger the actual download action, which we can do by setting on action. And this is the code that will be called when you hit enter on the field. So yeah, we haven't really covered multithreading or threads. Yeah, this is probably the best case for a multi-thread application. Okay, so as you know, these statements are executed sequentially, one after the other. And at any point, you know which method is going to be executed, and so on. In a multi-threaded application, or when you have more than one thread, more than one user thread that you yourself define, the code will run on the number of threads. So if you have 2 threads, then there will be 2 parallel code execution happening at the moment when the two threads are running, meaning that the program is kind of becomes non-deterministic because you don't know which statement is currently being executed in parallel. And there are certain things that have to be executed in parallel. For example, the update of UI, which happens on the JavaFX application thread, and the downloading task. They cannot run on the same thread because otherwise the task which downloads the file from the internet will block the JavaFX application thread, meaning that the application UI will not be updated, and hence operating system might think that the application froze, and it will just say something like not responding. And sometimes if there is no memory available, the operating system might even kill it. I think Android does that. Alright, so we're going to create a new thread, although we're not going to do it directly. We will, first of all, we need to define a class that extends a task, and this is the recommended approach when using JavaFX. We'll create our download task, which returns, well, it doesn't return anything, so void, or simply extend a task that's void. So extends task, returns void. And we'll need to implement just a single method. So what we've done now, we extended the task class by our own download task. And the code here in the call method, once we start our task, will be executed on a background thread, meaning it is not going to be executed on the UI thread. And this is exactly what we need. We can define our constructor to take a string URL which is the link to our file on the internet, and this is the code to be executed on a background thread, and this is where we do the actual download task, which we can easily do by well, first of all, we need to open an input stream. We'll need to import input stream first, and URL. So this method, well, first of all, we'll create a URL object based on the link provided. Then we create, we open a string to it and assign to this input stream object, which we can later use to, well, the fastest sort of shortest option is to just copy input stream to some target. Or we can call it downloaded file. We should really take name of the URL and then its extension, which means that we need to manually parse the URL. Okay, so we'll do this. String extension substring of URL last index of a dot. And the end index would be the length of the URL string. So this will basically return the extension of the file. And this is the file we're going to download, so it should return JPG. And it's probably inclusive as well, so it might return dot as well. Okay, so download file plus the extension, and it should save it in the same project folder, so right here. And if there are any exceptions, then it'll get thrown there, which will be caught somewhere else, and we can sort of be notified if there is an exception by just overriding failed. So this is essentially the code that will be executed if something went wrong. And similarly, this is the code to be executed when the application, the code within the call method completed as it should have been. Alright, so set an action, we create a new task. New download task, which takes a string, and that string is the link. Get text. We can now clear the input. So that it's ready for the user entering new link for downloading new file. Now we can create a new thread and pass this task for execution. We can set daemon thread so that it's not blocking the JVM from exiting. So when there are no more threads, that if there are only daemon threads existing, then JVM is allowed to quit. Alright, so all of that will be executed within the same thread as the code that called this, meaning it will still be executed on JavaFX application thread. Once you call start method of a class thread, you're creating a new thread, and this will start, the code that you pass to the execution will start executing within the thread that you've just created. So there will be at least two threads executing code, and this code will be executed in parallel. Download. Failed. Yeah, we haven't really done anything with the ProgressBar because we're copying it just using one method from the utilities class files. We can make use of ProgressBar if we were to copy it using byte buffer, something like that. So if you want to, you'll be able to copy and paste that to right here, and then update ProgressBar, which we might do in a minute. First, we need to make sure that the application actually works. So the thing to copy and paste is that link right there, and if I hit enter, that, as you can see, did not block the UI execution, so the animation and all that kind of thing kept executing as it should have been. Now it says download, so I'm expecting a file to appear here. Yep, there we go. We just downloaded. We've just downloaded this image from an internet link to our disk and saved it as a download file.jpg. Now we can close the application. And what else? Yeah, we might as well do this thing. So this is the sort of helper method that does it, the downloading in sort of one line. Or sometimes actually most of the time we want the user to be able to see the actual progress of the downloading. So what we can do is do this. So buffer size probably 4096. Oh, it's 8000. All right. 1000. Input stream is the source. Sync is going to be a new output stream that we need to create ourselves. Output stream ls, which we can do using new output stream paths get, and we'll just paste that there. We no longer need this. We'll need to import output stream. And you might wonder why we're not closing the streams, because we're using the new, relatively new try with resources block, which closes it for us. So it's kind of cool because there is no need to write catch and finally blocks. It'll do it for us. Alright, so we'll write 0 to n. We also need to know the length of the file that we're downloading. I wonder if URL is closable. So this is the link. Yeah, it's not auto-closable, so we have to define it outside. We cannot just do OpenStream because we need to know the length of the file that we're downloading so that we can update the ProgressBar accordingly. Link get content length or something, there should be. URL connection. So we open connection first, then we can obtain the length, and we'll call it long length or file length to make clearer. Get content. Yeah, that should be it. So we've already opened the connection, so there is no need to reopen the connection. We can just obtain input stream from that connection. Yeah, I might as well rename it to connection. We've obtained the output stream this is the number read, and at this point, once we've written, we could update progress. I think it's called update progress. Yeah, this is the update progress. So these are one of the methods that we inherit from the class task. Work done is the amount that we read, and maximum is the file length. That should do it, I think. And finally, now there's no need to add this just yet. We'll slightly rearrange this. So once we've created the field URL, we'll attach this to the user interface, but the progress bar will be attaching once we create a new task. We'll create a progress bar, so that for a new download task there will be a new progress bar available. We'll bind the progress property to the task's progress property, meaning that whenever this thing updates, it will automatically notify the progress bar, which will synchronize its value with the task's progress bar value. So it's kind of done automatically, so we don't need to worry about it. Root get children add progress bar, and this will ensure that for every download task there will be a separate progress bar added to the vertical box. Progress bar set preferred width. We might increase the width to 350 at least. And we no longer need this. Right, that looks okay, I think. Yeah, so we can delete that and redo the same thing. Copy this, paste that into the bar. As you can see, there are no progress bars yet. When we hit enter, new progress bar appears, and if you've captured it, it went from 0 to 100%, and then the text appeared downloaded. We do it one more time. A new progress bar will appear and do the same thing. And if we do it multiple times, there will be, as you can see, it's sort of it's running concurrently. It creates a new thread every time, new download task, and it downloads it within a separate thread. And this is the file that has been downloaded from the internet. This code will work for most of the files. Sometimes certain servers will not allow you to download it using just that, because browsers will have a certain connection information which we haven't really passed to the connection, and hence the download will be denied. Apart from that, this code is more or less will be working for most of the stuff that you will need. And so in this tutorial we covered how to create a background thread, or a task that will be executed on a background thread. And we also used a few helper methods to download a file from the internet. And you don't, if you don't really need this progress bar thing, then you don't need to worry about that. You could just write what we had before, using just a single call to the files. And if you're curious about what this is doing. This is basically reading from the input stream into this byte array, 8,000 bytes at a time if there are bytes to read. This is the value that is returned saying how many bytes it has read, and if it's greater than 0, then we can write because there is something to read. If it's not greater than 0, probably return -1. Yeah, it'll return -1 if there is no more data available. And we simply just break out the loop. And n read is the amount of bytes read so far. So we update progress with the bytes read so far over the maximum file length. And this creates that ratio that you could see on the screen with the progress bar. And I think this will be it. Yeah. And thank you for staying with me for the whole tutorial, and thanks for watching.